pop culture historian. I've also been on the History Channel and Robert Kirkman's AMC Secret History of Comics. Thank you. And I was blessed enough to be an Eisner judge last year. For those who don't know, the Eisners is the Academy Awards equivalent for comic books. So I'm so honored to be up here today, and thank you all for waiting and being here on a Saturday. There are so many panels to choose from, and yet you guys are here. So thank you so much. Some of them are still making their way up here, so let me just start off very quickly. How, you guys had a good time? Did you guys have an easy time finding the north part of the building? Yeah. Versus
Took a while.
It's been a while, okay. So the first one we're gonna do is Selwyn Ward, how are you? You wanna come on out? Selwyn! Everyone shouting your name! So, as we're waiting for a couple of talents, we had a press room right before this. I'm sure you guys are all very pleased. Mr. Walter Jones, how are you?
What's up, everybody?
Yeah. Mr. Jones, your tag is right here.
Oh. Go down here.
We like to stick together.
So we're gonna, Mr. Andrew Gray, are you here right now? Woo! Mr. Scott Zillner, how are you? Mr. Dan Southworth, how are you?
Dan Southworth.
And Mr. Kevin Thompson, how are you? I just want to say, during the press room, I saw all of them taking photos for each other behind the scenes and sending them together. And then I just saw Andrew pull out the chair for Kevin. And I felt like they're such a family. And they were like, of course, dream work makes the team work. So I love the fact that you guys are just always together and always elevating each other.
We just know how to behave in public. You should see us behind closed doors.
You've been trained.
I thought it was just that I was old.
It doesn't count unless it's on the gram.
So I'm going to allow them to quickly introduce themselves because I actually got several inboxes from people that said, we love Power Rangers, but my kids are so young and we just want to come to the panel, but we want to learn more about them. So some of them here are like seasoned veterans of the, like they watched the show for over 30 years. And then there are some who are kind of new. So to kind of open up, tell us what Ranger or character you played and who you wish you could have played.
My.
Well, I played Zachary Taylor, the original Black Ranger. OG in the house. The character I would like to have played is Zach Taylor, the original Black Ranger. That's it.
Hi, my name's Kevin Thompson. I was Quagmire. I was the guest star of a two-parter. I wish I would like to have played Quagmire much longer because I saved you guys. They were not
Out of illusion.
out of illusion, but they were not thinking straight. They could not get themselves together, and I did that. I myself is the reason why Power Rangers is still going today.
My name is Andrew Gray. I played the legendary Troy Burrows. I would have liked to have played Maybe Bryan Cranston's kind of Zordon character. Because he was the Red Ranger that got sucked in, right? He sacrificed himself, and that's what all heroes do.
A loud cheer for that
I'm Selwyn Ward. I played TJ. I was Red Turbo in Blue Space. And you know, I'm gonna say the same. I think I would have wanted to be TJ.
Hello, I'm Dan Southworth. I play the Quantum Ranger, and I'm pretty happy with that.
And so, Scott, while this question doesn't really pertain to you, but I get multiple people who either recognize you at Wondercon, or they ask me, does he own the official convention? Was he the founder? Tell me about this man. So very quickly, for those who don't know your connection to the official one.
Gotcha, but to answer that first question, I would like to play Dan. I run the official Power Ranger convention, Wondercon. And that's a fan-driven event for everyone that loves Power Rangers, and we make, one weekend every 2 years, the nirvana of Power Rangers. Everybody comes out, everybody has a great time, and that's why we do it.
So, Scott's convention is extremely well received and very popular, which is actually a testament to the fandom. So, whoever can go first, why do you think this entire franchise has lasted so many decades and is so popular and it's still well loved today and will continue to be so?
The world needs more heroes.
I think it's the passion of the fans of you liked it as a child, you've moved on, and your children then from that like that. You liked Walter, and now you like Andrew. And there's just keeps going on.
And who's gonna say it? Come on, guys.
I was gonna say diversity, inclusion, being able to be a child and being able to, relate to characters with so many options.
Because of all the fans,
Yeah, I think it's a powerful symbol for what you can accomplish when you stay interconnected with one another, and you're inclusive.
Inclusive, that's it. It's I think it's about the positivity aspect. It's about wanting to be the best that you can be and wanting to inspire others to be good. It's about good against bad and about loving other people so much that you put yourself in front of people to help them, being a hero.
I have to just say this because it's so true. In life, when we act as an individual, we get pretty far in life. But as I've learned with Power Rangers is when we work together as a team, we go further.
Absolutely.
And we get to be with each other through the ups and the downs, and we get to realize how similar we are than how different we are. And we couldn't do what we do without the support from all of you. And I know I'm saying it for everybody. Thank you, and we love you guys.
Yeah, we love you!
And we have the best fans in the world. You guys are amazing. I started the show in we did the pilot in 1992. And then in 93, we started the show, and it was nothing until, the first week we became the #1 kids show in the world, which is crazy to be the #1 kids show in the world in 40 countries and over 80 languages. But all of that continues today because of you guys. You guys are the fans. You guys have taken the show and showed it to your kids and shared it with your families and your friends, and it's a testament to you guys because we wouldn't be here without you. So yes, thank you all.
And Scott, they spoke about all these values that a lot of people, and children and families have grown up. How do you see that reflected in the fandom when they go to your convention?
Well, it's 30 years of Power Rangers. So think about it like high school. When you started as a freshman, there was several years above you. And then as you went through high school, it's several years behind you. Power Rangers is Angel Grove High for 30 years. we got Walter there from year one, and then we got, the newest season out there right now, Dino. We got Cosmic Fury, Dino Fury. It's every year is another generation of fandom, and everyone has their favorites. We all know it's Walter, but it's something you can't let go, and there's so many generations of it. It holds true, class after class of Angel growth.
Yeah.
And Selwyn, so a lot of people looked you up and then they asked me and they said he was invited to Comic-Con Africa. That's the information that they got off of, I guess, Google.com or those who actually met you there. When you were on the show, did you think you were going to be invited to a convention like that one day because everyone saw you on TV and they're like, this is amazing, we want to just invite him to something like this?
No, never in my wildest dreams would I have thought that. But I will say that I got invited. I didn't make it, but I'm still trying to go.
Oh no!
It got canceled. I guess they had rolling blackouts and some technical difficulties at that time, so hopefully I'll be better.
But you were invited, meaning they seeked you out.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, I actually have several friends in the Black community goes, you know what, he was being called home. And they wanted him to come back and they were so happy and they were like, we hope, like he's here. And I was like, oh, that's great. So Dan, one of the questions that I get is, how do you, they look you up, they already know the character you played in history, they're like, oh, he's an actual martial artist, like it is everywhere. Was that one of the requirements to get the job? And I've been asked by two ladies, how do you keep fit?
I keep moving, that's how I keep fit. I started out, I screen tested originally when they were recasting the show. Then I decided to move to Los Angeles. After I screen tested for a TV show, I didn't know anything about how the industry works. And I was cast in the live show tour that toured the world with NCA. It was produced by NCA. And as a result of that, I ended up getting hired by corporate headquarters to do appearances, and then found my way into stunts, doing action. And that all came on the heels of having just finished acquiring my black belt before I moved down, and I wrestled. I grew up the only Asian kid on my block and had to learn to protect myself. I was told, and then I did, and then it came in handy. So that was there before I got onto the show as an actor. And then I was finally hired onto the show as an actor after serving on it for 2 weeks as a stunt person, as a stunt performer. And I think because they knew of my background as a martial artist and because of my background as a stuntman, they gave me a lot more activity, it felt like. And I was encouraged to do a lot more of whatever I could do. And that was nice. And so less of a prerequisite and more of a situation of circumstances in my case.
Andrew, people asked me this question because they assume that we already know each other, but we actually met at this convention. They're like, ask him which one of his 2 Ranger outfits he liked the most. Ask him that. Do you have one?
It's hard because they both fit me so well. But I would say the Mega Force, because as a kid growing up, I shared this in the interviews just earlier, that I wrote in a time capsule that when I grew up I wanted to be the Red Power Ranger, funny like Jim Carrey, and I'm halfway there I feel like now, but when I got to put on that suit, it was a very emotional experience. I feel like maybe that for everybody it was an emotional experience, and I didn't really believe it until we were wrapped. I was like, did that just happen or am I dreaming? And it happened, so definitely Mega Force for me for sure. And then we weren't told that the suits were going to change in the 2nd season. And I wasn't really into it. And I tell fans that, they're like, why? I'm like, because we went from like a Mega Blaster to like a pirate gun. Like, I gotta like put gunpowder in this thing? Like, what are we gonna do here? He's like, yeah, but you get to morph into all the Red Rangers with keys. I'm like, wait a second. And so that was fun too. to know that, but it was a Megaforce for sure.
See, now there's definite answers for those who always wondered which one that you liked the most. So when I was speaking to some journalists, they started arguing. They're like, no, it's red versus blue. It's red versus blue. Who did you prefer?
You know, I would have to say red, but you know, it's not for what you think. It's actually just because that's my first experience. It's almost like when you get your first bicycle. You know, it has that sentimental value. And Turbo as a series, it's kind of old school. You know, it's still kind of quick cuts. You know, quality wasn't so good. It almost reminds me of like old school kung fu. You know, where their mouths don't quite line up and the hands sound like sticks. So I kind of like that piece, and it was my introduction. So I definitely had to say red.
And Kevin, I think what I find so amazing about really popular franchises, you can play any role in any capacity, and the fans are going to remember exactly who you are, moments from that episode, and everything. When you got that role, and even to this day, did you think that you were going to be so loved and remembered for the two-parter? Because kind of like Star Wars, you could be a background character, and someone's like, I know it's Babu Frick. He was in it for 3 minutes, and we love him. And it mattered, and all characters are like that in the Power Rangers franchise. What is it like knowing that you're still recognized?
Really amazing that it was just a 2-week job, that 30 years later, people remember me. People have said, you know, thank you for playing the character you played. You saved me. I was like, it was just a character, but their life was so a wreck. And Power Rangers as a franchise, and I was OG, so we're just coming out realizing, still we didn't realize this was going to be 30 years later, but Power Rangers was something that they could watch on TV and take all the daily problems away from them because the Power Rangers were going to get it done. And it's, you know, 30 years later, you really, as an actor, it's almost like a construction worker. You build a house, great. 30 years later, you don't know if it's still going to be there. I was lucky enough to also be in Star Wars, that is still, you know, 40 years later, Return of the Jedi was there. So we're celebrating that. That's amazing. Did I think that I would be up here on a table talking about these things? No. I was just hoping that, you know, people would remember it. I'm an old man telling old stories that people want to listen to. Mm-hmm. And I'm very, very lucky for that. Thank you.
Walter, I have been doing panels and press for over a decade. And whenever you ask, you know, people of ethnic minority backgrounds, who was the first time you saw on live action that you felt like, I could be that person, I could be that character? They're always like, Black Ranger, original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. What is that like for you when you hear something like that you were kind of the one that they felt pioneered their way and made them feel safe entering deeper and deeper into fandom?
It's incredible. It's I think everybody wants to have left a mark, you know, in the world in some way. And you know, I realized when I was doing the show, I think I'm the first Black superhero on live action TV. And I was like, is that real? Is that something that's real? I think I am. And here it is 30 years later, and I was the first. I mean, I wasn't the first Black superhero. Obviously, there were more, but on live action TV, and for it to be done in such a way that it was there, I was there every day. I was, you know, every day after school, Monday through Friday was on, and eventually it was Monday through Saturday. So, and for the show to be so widely watched worldwide in 40 countries, that's a lot of inspiration. That's a lot of people that were inspired. Or that we're inspired to accept diversity, and to have been a big part of that makes me really happy.
And, Walter, we're going to start with you and then we're going to go on our way down. A lot of people obviously mention the live action, but they'll also say, the IDW comic books are really good, or I love the costume, and it actually grows beyond the live action medium into other types of medium as well. You had a film, you have comic books, you have toys. Why do you think that is? Because not every franchise is going to have toys made out of them, have comic books that continue or make new stories about them. They may not get a film or films. What is it that you feel about the Power Ranger franchise that can expand beyond its original format?
It's variety. I mean, like in 30 years, there have been so many different iterations of Power Rangers. We have our own multiverse. So, there's something for everybody. If you started with Mighty Morphin and you watched the show and you got inspired by the show and then it changed to like all the different versions, it was like, it takes you to a new fantasy. It allows you to go to a different place. And the fact that we have action figures, pops, comic books, I mean, all these things are just another way for you to get lost in the lore of Power Rangers. So it's awesome.
It also helps to have an owner that's a toy company.
We'll let everyone jump in on this one.
I think Scott's the pro at this.
Having action figures made of you, or having action figures made of Power Rangers, the original action figures for Power Rangers were just simply the Japanese figures repackaged and thrown over here. And sometimes they would even do that wrong. Like they would still have the Japanese chips in them on the very first wave. They didn't fix everything.
The very first mold of me had breasts.
Isn't that not still true?
Don't act like you're not impressed.
Bandai got the license because it was literally nothing. Nobody expected Power Rangers to be the #1 kids show for 30 years. It wasn't something that was supposed to happen. The actors didn't unpack. They thought they weren't going to get, the job wasn't going to go anywhere. And the fact that the toys sold beyond amazing. They had to go back and do second, third, fourth, fifth prints on molds that they were going to throw away because they were done with them. It literally redid toys, and it took Star Wars toys quite a long time to actually beat back their record of being the #1 toys line, because Power Rangers owned it for a long, long time.
I've heard executives reference Walter's seasons that Walter was on as the phenomenon.
Yeah, no,
Exactly
absolutely.
because of what you're saying.
They had never seen that many people rush to buy toys. And in fact, we have a toy market that we do now is partially responsible because of Power Ranger toys sold so well that there's new rules on how you get royalties on toys. Is because Power Ranger toys were beyond a phenomenon. It changed the toy world and how you produce toys for television shows. And following close on the heels of that, we got brand after brand trying to replicate the success of Power Rangers that nobody, even to this day, still can from those original days of Power Rangers.
It's crazy, the toys actually sold before the show even came out. So I was walking down Venice Beach one day with my cousin, and these kids ran up on me. This is like 2 weeks before the show had aired. These kids ran up on me and say, "Hey, yo, you're the Black Ranger, right?" And I was like, yeah, but how do you know? The show hasn't even come out yet. It was like, I just bought your toy, and your face is on the box. Now, I didn't know that we had a toy. I didn't even know that, we had taken pictures and they had put them on a box of a toy. So I was like, I have a toy? And they're like, yeah, you got an action figure. I was like, I got an action figure? And they're like, yeah, your face is on the box. So I look at my cousin, and I'm like, I have an action figure and my face is on the box. And he's like, you got an action figure, your face is on the box. It was pretty amazing, and even today when I see that first action figure with my little picture on the bottom, I'm like, this I got the toy, my face is on the back. It's pretty cool. And that started even before Power Rangers here.
Anybody want a Quagmire toy? Yeah! We haven't made a Quagmire toy. Maybe we could do a pop. Yeah. Even my Ewoks didn't make it because I do all the crazy stuff. I don't have an Ewok. Well, I do. It was a Kmart one. Kmart's gone. So maybe we could do another Ewok one. Maybe an Ewok Quagmire.
Kevin, never say never
What's ever?
about a Quagmire toy. You never know.
So, and we're going to open up for questions. I do not know due to the light where the microphone is. Ah, yes, a lovely person in the back waving. If you have a question, please line up. We're going to limit it to one question, no comments, please. And a lot of you are dying to ask about Once and Always. It's a no spoiler panel, so please do not ask that question.
Spoiler, it's going to be great.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
Hi.
What's up, buddy?
Hi. My question is for the Rangers on the panel is, if you had to swap Ranger outfit with a season that's not your own, who do you think has a better outfit?
I'm sticking Black Ranger all day, I'm sorry.
I would say Samurai because we, the actor who played the Red Ranger, Jaden, him and I went to high school together. And he was a really good guy, and I think his suit was pretty awesome.
I don't know what season it was. It may have been yours when you had the ninja looking like the sweatsuits almost, like Genie.
Oh, yeah.
That was,
Wasn't it Phil?
Ninja Storm?
Karen.
Is that Ninja Storm?
That was before Turbo, though. I thought it was before Turbo.
Samurai? Was it
It
Samurai?
was like this kind of almost sweatsuit ninja looking.
You're asking for the movie Ninjetti
comfortable.
outfits. The Ninjetti outfits. Yeah, you just want to be in sweatpants.
Yeah. Just keep it casual.
I always liked space. I wanted to get on the show when it was space.
Thanks, sir.
I had to wait.
You know, I also liked the Omega Ranger. The Omega Ranger outfit is pretty dope, and that's in the comic books. Boom Comics created the Omega Rangers, and instead of going to the peace treaty, we actually became these Rangers that are intergalactic Rangers going in different dimensions and helping other Rangers. That suit, I think, is pretty phenomenal.
Some of the suits also that from the AI generated suits, you guys see that online? And I'm like, that is sick. Like, those are incredible.
Yes.
David,
Hello.
great question.
Hi.
My question is, what was your favorite episode that you ever worked on?
All of mine.
I was saying earlier today that that Zach's birthday was one of my favorite episodes, simply because not only was it the first episode where my character was the name of the episode, it was like probably one of the 7th shows I'd done on Power Rangers, but it was also the VHS tape. It was, I think just because of the success of that show, it was one of my favorites, and because I wasn't in it that much. It was like, actually, most of the episode is everybody else hiding from me for my birthday, but I did get to dance in it, which was fun, and that was a good time. But it always changes. I love Food Fight. I love Illusions because we got to work together, and I got to dance. He was DJing.
Island of Illusion 1 and 2.
I really enjoyed the episode where I went like Super Saiyan for a second. I didn't know that was gonna happen until they showed me the Sentai, and they said, we're gonna try to redo this, don't mess it up. And they said, tomorrow you're gonna work with the stunt crew because we wanna give you a shot. We've seen your athletic ability to maybe even choreograph something. So we choreographed that whole fight scene together the night before and then rehearsed it, blocked it, lit it, and we shot it. And I think it turned out pretty awesome.
Yeah, I think I would go with Wheels of Fate Turbo, because I was still new to being a Red Ranger, and that one kind of centered around TJ, and that was the episode where I tamed my car, Lightning Cruiser. So I got to like run, and I was doing a lot of stunts with that. At one point it looked like I got hit, and I got to do this little 360 twirl leap type of thing. So I really like that. I like the action in that. I just like the feel of trying to tame this car, and I got to drive really crazy and reckless for a while too.
In all serious, Clash for Control, when the Quantum Ranger gets his powers. That was a lot of fun to make.
Thank you. Next question, please.
This is for the Rangers. When you would fight evil, what would be your soundtrack of choice?
Anything Hans Zimmer.
Oh, yes.
You know the good job. It's funny because on YouTube I've had a lot of my fight footage edited and people put music behind it, and so there's a Back in Black. I think one of my favorite ones is like DMX.
Yeah.
I was like,
Bad to the bone.
Soundtrack.
You passing it on to me? Sure.
I like space theme actually. But go ahead.
You like what?
The space theme.
The space theme
The space theme.
from the show.
Yeah.
We played it. Yes. Awesome. That's very supportive. Let the bodies hit the floor. I don't know why, it just comes into mind. Scott, yours?
Anything done by Ron Wasserman, obviously.
Did you? Okay. Next.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. My question is, how do you feel that now there's some anime series coming out there kind of like breaking down the tropes of Power Rangers, like satirizing it, and just, how do you feel about that?
That means we've arrived.
You realize there was Super Sentai before Power Rangers.
Oh yeah, definitely, I know, like the Sentai Power Ranger tropes.
Yeah, you know what? It's as long as people are inspired, to talk about us, then we're still being talked about. Let's go.
I knew a producer that said, if Mad Magazine is doing a parody on a project that I did, like they said over here, I have arrived.
Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So, with all the talk about representation in Power Rangers, that series you've done, what sort of groups and people would you like to see represented in future teams of Power Rangers? For example, I'd like to see a neurodivergent Ranger in the main team.
Interesting. I can't say that I know what has been represented so far, but I think, the idea is if you're the best person that you can be, if you are the most skilled person that you can be, if you're fighting for something to be the best that you can be, that anybody can be a Ranger. That was one of the things I loved about our shows, because we were teenagers with attitude, not because we were delinquent. We were teenagers with attitude because we were confident. We all tried to excel to be the best we could be at whatever we did. And I think everybody...
Teenagers with good attitude.
Everybody has that in themselves to be that. It doesn't matter what you look like or how much you weigh or anything. It's like if you are trying to be the best person you can be, then you have ability to be a Ranger.
Let's go.
I want to say that Power Rangers has always been very diverse in every season, and has always been pushing that diversity so much so you don't see it. It's just, you're just people out there doing the job, and that's how it should be.
I'd like to see more, I don't know if you could, it would be hard writing, but I'd like to see more ADA teenagers becoming that superhero, because you've never seen that yet. So that would be an area that they could explore and maybe find a lot of traction.
I hope you guys are having a good day. My question is for Walter. when you left Mighty Morphin and Johnny Young Bosch took over, would you have done the returns as the Black Ranger if you were given the opportunity?
Yeah. I never wanted to leave the show. The thing was, we're just trying to make it better for us. It's time to stand up and fight for what we believed in. And so that movie was the movie that I wanted to do. That was an opportunity for me to shine on the theater. And I think, I think Johnny Young Bosch did a great job doing what he did, and he carried the mantle, passed the baton, and he kept running, and that's great. But yeah, definitely, I would like to have been back on the show maybe a long time ago, but this is the first time that it's been SAG, because after I left the show, I became Screen Actors Guild, and well, there was one season, I guess, that with SAG, your space, but yeah, I couldn't go backwards. So now the show is a Screen Actors Guild show, our 30th anniversary Screen Actors Guild show, and I'm happy to be back. Took 28 years, but I'm there.
Hi, my question is, if you had to pick a favorite that is not yours, including everyone there, but if you had to pick a favorite that's not your character, what would it be?
I'm going with Rita. Because Rita's been consistent pain in the butt, I'm just saying, She got a headache every day, but she's still working, you know what I mean?
Bulk and Skull, just the combination between those two. You went on for years, those two guys, yeah.
I would say any one of the mentors. We all need mentors in life, and that's a very courageous role, to lead people. And I would say any of the mentor roles, like Zordon, etc.
Rita was a mentor. I mean, she was maybe not the best teacher, but still.
When I was doing the live tour, the guys playing the putties had the most fun. Just so silly, doing whatever they wanted, and it's really weird. I always wanted to play putty. Yeah. Just a lot of fun. Just a lot of antics from those guys.
I would love to be Zordon.
Yes.
Yes. Hello. Next question.
2 minutes.
My question is,
He's got to edit out all the swear words.
why you guys want to be Power Rangers?
Well, I want to be a Power Ranger because I want to continue to inspire people to be good and to fight for people that need help. So I want to be a hero.
It was an audition and I got the job.
I wanted to be a Red Power Ranger when I was a little guy, and I went through high school and went through drama and moved to Los Angeles and kind of forgot about the series for a while because I had different aspirations in life. And then the audition came up and I said, you know what? I didn't get to do this when I was a kid, and I get to do this now, so I'm going to give it my best shot. And it's been an incredible journey thus far. So I guess it's just a dream come true, really.
Yeah, I feel like everybody from when you're young always wanted to be a superhero, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or am I by myself on that?
No, I'm with you. I'm with you on that.
I think it's natural.
I wanted to be a Megazord.
Thank you.
Thank you for the question.
Thank you so much for your question.
My question is for Selwyn. I just wanted to ask you, first of all, rest in peace, JDF. I wanted to say, how was it taking on the mantle of Red Turbo and then taking it even farther, heading into space?
Yeah, it was crazy because I knew who I was replacing, and those were really big shoes to fill, and I kind of knew that. But I think the thing that helped most is I made it my own. You know, I didn't try to be him. You know, I let TJ be TJ. I even had a set mom that had spent time with Jason prior to my season that would say, hey, you know, he would do it this way and he would do it that way. And I was like, that's great, but this is TJ, you know? So I think, you know, all of us, just, you get that moment where you just gotta be you, and that's it.
Yeah.
This is from Walter. How did you like working with Jason, David, Frank?
It was cool. It was crazy. I mean, like, he was funny. He was the biggest joker of all of us. You never knew what he was going to do. You never knew what he might do to you. he was a prankster. But he was also very talented. Like, I remember when he first came to set, it was like, who's this guy? You know, and he starts doing his jump spinning back kicks, and I was like, well, I'm going to do that. Like, that was pretty cool. Let me try this. Yeah. You know, like, and I don't know. I think when he joined the show, he was inspiring because it made all of us want to get even better. You know, we all wanted to, you know, match each other. Like, you know, he came ready, so it was good. He's a wonderful addition to the cast, and you know, he'll be missed.
I have the question for the Rangers. Out of all the people on your team, who is your favorite teammate?
Well, I don't know if you know anything about Eric Myers, but he works alone. Unless it's Taylor.
I would say, I mean, I get along with everybody, but Austin St. John, who was the Red Ranger, the original Red Ranger, he was the youngest cast member. He was so young. I was 26, I was the oldest. But he was 17 when we did the pilot. Well, he turned 18 when we did the pilot, and it was interesting. He was like a little brother to me. But we ended up becoming roommates, and you know, with everything that we went through, it's just like, you know, he was a brother to me. He's a brother to me. So I would say he's probably my favorite cast member.
Quagmire works alone.
I would say, well, I definitely got along with everybody, all my cast members, their family. But Christina Masterson, we shot our very first job together, which was a print job for Adidas, and we were together for 2 weeks throughout Seattle. They made like a little Adidas movie. And then I took a leap of faith. My manager said, you know, you kind of need to still find yourself. You're still green. How about you go to Thailand to do some commercials, kind of get lost and find yourself out there, enjoy yourself, get worldly knowledge, etc. And then I was walking out the front door after I checked into my place, and Christina Masterson walked in. I was like, what are you doing here? She's like, what are you doing here? She's like, I'm here to do some commercials. I'm like, I'm here to do some commercials. And I was like, that's really awesome. And then after I got casted for Power Rangers, and we're at Hype Spawn's office, and the whole cast was there, they're like, now we're gonna reveal who the Pink Ranger is. And Christina Masterson walks in, I'm like, I can't get rid of you! I love you! And then we all ended up decided living together. Well, we shot Power Rangers for what, 6-8 months or something like that. Yeah, so I'd say Christina, we have a history.
Yeah, I feel like I've always had a special connection, not just my season, but mostly all the Pink Rangers.
Yeah, just so you guys know, as an actor, all of the actors I've worked. I like what he said. We all got along really well, and it was a lot of fun to work with the cast in all the incarnations of the show whenever I got a chance.
So we're going to do a lightning round, so whoever feels best fit to answer, because we have a couple of minutes and I want to try to get through all the questions, and if we do not get to you, thank you for spending the time to wait in line to try to ask it. Yes, let's see what you have.
What's up, you guys? And this was just like for Walter. And there was like this one episode of My More Power Rangers with Zach where he was teaching kids this whole hip hop keto thing.
Yes.
Would you consider like your funnest part of working on the series, like funnest moment?
You know, it was actually very challenging because like hip hop keto was not something that was real. It was like unexistent. And on the script it would say, Zach does hip hop keto. That's it. So I was like, okay, I gotta figure out what this is gonna be. It was the first time that hip hop keto was featured. I mean, it was like something I did in episodes, but it was like, I thought if I'm gonna teach somebody how to do it, I have to really make it into a kata. So I had to make a kata of this thing that didn't exist using different skills, and it was very enjoyable. I loved it. I thought it was like, and then they ended up using that little body wave in the opening, and that's now iconic. I can't tell you how many times people send that to me on my computer. People are like, I'm on my phone, they're like, that's me. And all those little gestures, I'm like, okay, that's funny.
Thank you. Thank you. And we have we're gonna have both of you ask your questions, not at the same time, but one right after another. And then we're going to quickly.
Hello.
Hi.
My question is, which Power Ranger is the evil ranger?
You marinate on that, and what's the second question?
You need to ask that question.
Ask it. Yay. Thank you for waiting.
Hi.
Hi.
So, with the passing of Jason David Frank, how would you carry on his legacy?
You go on every day doing the best you can.
That's it.
And for those who don't already follow you all, quick shout out to your social media. Where can people find you?
At Walter E. Jones on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and Twitter.
Kevin Thompson 7337 Instagram. Little Man Tux on Twitter.
Andrew Gray, Gray, across all social platforms.
The Selwyn Ward on all social platforms, and the Black Knight on the Cinemax at night.
I'm gonna have to give you some Cinemax. At Dan_Southworth on Instagram.
Scott Zilder or official Power Morphicon.
Thank you, everyone, for celebrating 30 years of Power Rangers. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. The evil Power Ranger with Rita.
Hey guys, I'm going to be hanging out doing autographs for the next 2 hours. If you want to come and see me, I'll be at booth 1956, Nerdgasms, Poem C7, row 1900. So, love to meet you. Sign some autographs, take some photos, let's get it done.
Everybody else will be at 1347.
Thank you. So if you have further questions, please
Come by and
ask
say
them.
hello.
No, it's okay. No, if you have further questions, ask them where they'll be at the signing, because we are not allowed to answer questions. We actually have a next panel that's coming up. Thank you.